Last time kalau saya move the problem. Okay, first kita just discuss a little bit on research proposal. Okay, whatever the research you want to do, just like in anything, we start with a proposal. A proposal is an intention. Okay, bila you nak kahwin pun you kena propose. Example lah, kan? So intention to tell people or to tell certain parties, especially stakeholders, someone who give, maybe kalau kita buat research proposal, maknanya kita nak minta apa? Kita nak minta duit, funding. Kita kalau department, kita sometimes kita write proposal to asking for annual budget. Okay, annual budget for running of the laboratories, for running of the class, okay, for operational budget, okay, development budget. So all start with how you put things in proposal. So the problem is that bila kita asking for money, many people want to ask for money, so everybody will prepare a proposal. So the good proposal will be selected. So the bad proposal will be rejected. So that's why it's very important to write a good proposal. Same way in research. So in universities or in undergraduate final year project, you also will do a research proposal because you want to start your project as part of your degree requirement. Okay, so can be a small research project that FYP is a small research project of a bigger research project. Okay, or it can be a small project on its own, a starting project. So the main purpose is to train, to expose students to scientific field and research environment. So you will gain two things in your FIP. Okay, is to gain some skill, maybe some skill to train you. Okay, scientific field ni termasuk skills and how you to think in science, how to put things together, and to expose yourself what are the things in the research environment, what are the things we do and how we analyze things, how we present things, and how we interpret things. So this is part of training that you will gain. So you are trained to prepare your research proposal. You have to know what is the purpose of preparing research proposal, even though you are not asking for money. Okay, learning basic research technique and scientific skills. This already been discussed. Okay, three important elements in a research proposal. Yeah, you must always remember this. This is the only three main things. What will be do? What will you do? Why you do? And how you want to do. What, why, and how. So these three. What, to explain apa yang you nak buat, apa yang project, what are the significant, what are the backgrounds, what are the hypotheses, everything. Novelty and the important. You have to show to people why this show important, so that people or your stakeholder will give money or will give funding to your proposed project, because you in order to run an scientific experiment, scientific testing or project, you need funding, you need money. You cannot do anything without, especially if you are doing laboratory based project. Okay, method and technique to be employed. How, apa yang you nak buat. Okay, kalau method you maybe too complicated or involve a very expensive procedures or protocol, then it's not possible to carry conduct. Okay, example, if you want to do research on coronavirus, for example, you need a special BCL2 lab. So if you need that lab, that means whether you have the facilities, whether your institution has the facilities. Kalau tak ada facilities, you have to go to the other, do it in the other institution that have the facilities. You have to collaborate, for example. So that one involves money. Okay, if you want to set up your own facility, mungkin tak boleh. So you have to tell that as part of your budget. So the the agency that give that the panel that look at your proposal will decide whether this is feasible or not, this is possible or not. Okay, if good project but not possible, then they have to reject your proposal. So that's important about all these element, tiga element ni. Think to us when preparing a proposal. Okay, what you want to do, the cost, the time, what the difference will be the project make. Your university, your student, if you're asking for budget from Pahang government, then the impact to the Pahang state. Okay, if you're asking from the Malaysia ministry, then the nation and other related impact. Okay, for example, research impact and things, scientific impact and so on. If you're asking money, FRGS for example, so they will ask about what is the impact in various areas. For example, scientific publication, patents, your product, how your product can be used later on, how it can be used to commercialize, for example, how the scientific information can benefit the body, the area of knowledge, for example, what has already been done in the area of the project. So yang ni you kena ambil tahu. Start project tapi you tak tahu apa orang lain dah buat. You nak buat pasal COVID-19, pasal vaksin, tapi orang lain dah keluarkan vaksin. Nak kena tahulah status dia. So that mean access to the update current knowledge of the advancement in that field must be you must aware. Okay, this can be put together in literature review. How do you plan to do it? How you want to do it? Okay, how you want to analyze the result? So the main component of research proposal. Okay, these are the main component. Actually, if you look at research proposal, the component are more or less the same like thesis or research article, except one or two things that are missing in one component and the other they have another component. Okay, for example, here in research proposal, we have title, abstract, background, objective, statement of problem, hypothesis, literature review, methodology, materials, Gantt chart, milestone, references, bibliography, appendix, you have more things. Okay, more or less benda ni semua ada. Okay, except that kalau you tengok dalam research proposal, you akan dia more emphasis. Penekanan dia akan ada pada statement of problem, hypothesis, objective, okay, abstract semua ada, thesis ada abstract, research article ada abstract, research proposal pun ada abstract, okay, literature review semua ada, thesis pun ada, okay, proposal pun ada, okay, method semua ada, Gantt chart, milestone ni special, memang ada dalam research proposal tapi tak ada dalam thesis. Okay, so that's why when you prepare research proposal, you akan nampak ada Gantt chart dengan milestone. Reference semua ada, appendix semua ada. Okay, so background introduction ni sometimes ada orang panggil background, sometimes people call it as introduction. Okay, sometimes a combination of both. Okay, this a little bit sometimes people use a different terms or scope to reflect what are the agencies or what the panel want. Okay, kalau biasa untuk funding untuk FRGF for example, kita akan isi borang online, borang tu dia ada ruang untuk abstract. Dia tak ada abstract, dia ada ruang untuk executive summary. Dia macam abstract lah tapi executive summary dipanggil. Okay, biasanya term executive summary ni digunakan. Okay, statement of problem. Okay, this is very important in research proposal. Important part of proposal sebab reason behind why your research is so important and require attention. You asking people to fund. That means you have to give strength reason why your research is important and need supports. Okay, so how stronger statement of problem make your proposal look attractive and the project worse. Weak statement of problem reflect inadequate or poor understanding. So people want to give you money or people want to give you funding or supports. They want to look at how strong your proposal is. If your weak proposal, that means it affect your credibility. That means you are not aware of what's going on, and it's very difficult to give money and support to to people that don't understand what they are doing. So it reflects. So the strength of your proposal must be very, very convincing. Okay, must be support by information, by data, by literature, and so on. So if you have the example, you want to COVID, you must have the data on COVID in Malaysia, for example. Describe the describe the form of general problem, and then narrowing it from the general problem and narrow down to the actual problem. So problem can be start with from general and then specific. So don't describe the general problem but don't specify what actually your research problem. Okay, example, sometimes people tend to mention there's a problem but they don't link it with your research, for example. So for example, like problem, diabetic is a problem to human, but a problem to human, but how your research can solve the diabetic? Yes, it's a problem, but it have to connected to your problem and connected narrow to your problem. For example, diabetic is a problem to human. Diabetic is a problem to human who taking a, for example, certain herbs. So you want to do research on that effect of herbs on diabetic, for example. So they keep, you keep narrowing it, but don't say that herbs cause problem to the diabetic, but maybe what type of herbs, be specified. Okay, where you define your research gap. So research gap is a very, very important in research. So nanti kita akan explain what is research gap. Do not leave your statement of problem hanging to general without technical connection to your work. Statement of problem can also help you design your research and decide methodology to take. So it help the other part of the research. Okay. So scope, statement of problem itself. Kalau you terlalu general, you tak tahu apa you nak buat sebenarnya. Itu yang tak boleh. You tak boleh nak plan, you tak boleh nak ni. Tak nampak lah you punya, orang kata, perancangan you, and the people who look at your proposal, they want to see something very, very solid and something that very, very clear but feasible. Okay. Research gap. Apa yang dimaksudkan dengan research gap? Research gap ni sangat-sangat kritikal sebenarnya. Knowledge gap is that need to be filled by the new research. Okay. Every time you do research, you want your outcome or your product must contribute into the knowledge or gap being not filled by the researchers. Okay, that contribute to the novelty of the research. So every research you expect to contribute to the knowledge and literature in the field. Okay, but there are missing pieces or knowledge in that field due to problem which has not been addressed so far in that field. So if you think about any research, for example, there are always gaps. There are missing parts. For example, okay, I can think of my research. For example, I'm doing research on probiotic, for example. Okay, so probiotic ni very, very common. Dah banyak orang buat research. But I have to specify what are my research problem. So the use of probiotics to for example, to use in aquaculture, for example. For example, to fish, ikan patin, for example. So let's say I have a probiotic, but I want to use my probiotic as a feeding formulation in ikan patin. So the purpose is there's a problem. There's knowledge gap there. But it's not clear by saying that, kan. So dekat mana letak knowledge gap bila saya nak guna probiotik tu ke dalam ikan patin, tapi saya tak say know that probiotic is good for fish or for higher organism maybe, but I don't know how probiotic can contribute to that. Maybe in terms of growth, in terms of immunity. So I have to conduct some evaluation, some testing to do what happened my probiotic treatment to the fish. So that's where the knowledge gap is. So if I find the literature, I cannot find anything report on the effect of probiotic. Yes, people do a lot of what we call research on that, on fish and so on, but not ikan patin. Okay. Kalau you cari probiotik punya research, banyak orang buat. Tapi ikan patin tak ada. Itu satu knowledge gap lah, tapi not really sangat. So knowledge gap ni sangat-sangat important nak convince. Kalau I propose kat state government, okay, ikan patin kita ada ni literature, tak cukup nak convince dia orang tau. Tu pentingnya knowledge gap ni. I kena bagi lagi stronger. Punya saya check dekat peternak, macam mana dia solve the problem of ikan patin mati dalam kolam. Rupanya dia orang pakai antibiotik. Terlampau banyak antibiotik, it's harmful to the consumers. So that's the problem. So I think dengan adanya probiotik, dia akan reduce the reliance, dependence on antibiotic. So but how I going to do it to convince them? Ini tak ada pun research pasal probiotik kepada ikan patin ni, tak ada so far. But ikan-ikan lain ada. Tapi research pun quite limited. Bila saya tengok dia orang buat research pasal growth pun limited. So saya nak buat growth macam ni pula, nak tengok growth dia. Jadi kita kena keep on reading and ambil tahu apa yang orang lain buat, apa yang gap. Itu yang kita fill the gap. So bila kita dah buat research kita bantu orang lain juga. Nanti orang kata orang lain nak start dengan ikan lain. Orang lain nak start, company tu nak start dengan ikan patin, dia boleh guna kita punya data. So membantu orang lain. That's the purpose of research. But I can give you my example. You can think of many other example which is maybe I can put dalam you punya assignment later on lah. Okay. So lack of empirical study from a certain theoretical perspective or methodology. So empirical study ni you know lah. Okay. It can be method or it can be theory. So benda yang gap ni mungkin dalam method pun, teori pun ada gap. Macam orang buat fizik punya research, banyak teori gap. Dia try to fill. Contohnya macam how particle physics, how apa orang kata, what we call quantum mechanics semua kan. So they banyak lagi knowledge yang people tak tahu, black holes and so on. People are just doing a lot of research on just to understand that. Okay, that's something. If you know things about that, you can fill in the gap. Okay, but must be a proper analysis, a proper studies and so on. Okay, so gap dalam method juga, mungkin orang dah buat macam-macam. Orang dah buat cara, contohnya orang dah buat microorganism tu, orang dah check dia punya growth study and so on. Tapi orang tak buat lagi protein study. Orang tak buat lagi molecular genetic study. So kita fill the gap. Okay. So itu how kita fill the gap. Method tu. Orang tak buat lagi ni cara, contohnya probiotik ni orang tak buat cara proteomics. So kita fikir macam mana nak tengok, probiotik keluarkan proteins. So ada people just looking at how bacteria inhibit other bacteria. Tapi kita nak tengok protein apa yang dikeluarkan oleh bacteria to inhibit other bacteria. Tapi methodology tu kena different lah. Contoh. So macam-macam lah you can think of. Okay, you can find a better example than what I'm saying lah. Okay. Looking at what have been done and what had not yet been done. So ini yang nak kena baca, nak kena cari literature and find. So you as a student, you dah biasa dengan doing it, you know that where to find the article about what have been done, apa yang orang tak buat lagi. Look at the latest article, latest publication. Contohnya kalau you buat research pasal COVID, okay, vaccine and so on, you akan tahu yang publication tahun 2020 ni yang paling-paling relevant. Kalau you cari publication tahun 2019, 2018 je dah tak boleh. Tak ada pun cerita pasal, yang ada pasal maybe pasal SARS, coronavirus general. Tapi you talk 2020 baru ada pasal COVID-19, for example. So you kena up to date, kan? Okay. So far ada siapa-siapa nak raise question? Saya open. Tak ada Tak ada, kita continue.
Saya ada, doktor.
Okay. Go ahead.
Kalau someone, the researcher find something, a discovery, and then people nak guna discovery tu, dia ada macam royalty ke?
Okay. you're talking about impact, you're talking about pattern and hak apa orang kata, hak intellect sound like you're talking about that issues. Okay, kalau in science, kalau science ni sometimes dia ada konflik dengan commercialization. Okay, sometimes kita ada satu penemuan atau finding yang kita rasa very very beneficial for science, body knowledge of science itself. In that case, kita takkan orang kata kita lebih pada community. Kita akan disseminate the information as much as possible so that the community or the humanity can benefit. Okay, contohnya sekarang ni kita talking about vaccine for example, ataupun compound yang can inhibit the virus for example. So kita takkan kita seboleh-bolehnya, contohnya dexamethasone ditemui. Okay, sebelum ni people talk about hydrochloroquine, saya tak tahu. Okay, sekarang kita dah talking about dexamethasone. So people just try to orang kata to wawarkan as much as possible so that everybody can benefit. So baru ni you tengok dalam kes COVID, bila berlaku je COVID, first China do is to publish their genetic sequence to the open source so that everybody can start download the genetic and do the research because they want to solve the problem as much as possible because this is a crisis. So in that case, tak ada orang ada personal interest, okay, self interest, tak ada. Tapi dalam kes-kes tertentu, contohnya kalau your finding is related to your product, for example, you don't want your competitors. Contohnya kalau you tahu what are the ingredient, for example, if you're talking about KFC, what are the ingredient that can make your chicken last longer, stay fresh. Okay, for KFC, they want to keep the information or the formula to themselves. They don't want to publish it because a lot of competitors can come up and bring the market down for them. They for example, they have monopolized the market for chicken punya apa orang kata fast food kan. Tapi kalau ada company lain nanti dia tak boleh hidup. So ni ada kepentingan bisnes juga. So depend on what product you're talking about, what area you're talking about. But if you're talking about general knowledge for science, different. You have to disseminate the information. So royalty dengan tak royalty ni bergantung dengan jenis produk, jenis kepentingan and political factor, economic factor, banyak factor lah. So depend on what you're talking about. Of course, now we are talking about zaman globalization with the market economy and so on. Okay, some result can be beneficial to market. Sometimes people decide not to disclose your finding for the sake of kepentingan. So not only that, kepentingan kadang-kadang kepentingan geopolitik, kepentingan macam-macam lah. Okay, so that royalty lah. But if we have time, we are going to talk about it under ethic later on. Okay, titles, okay, research title ni actually must be careful lah. Title should be generally describe the proposed work, usually contain necessary keyword. Okay, keyword kena ada dalam title. Sometimes student or even supervisor sometimes have difficulty in deciding what are the title of their research or project that they're going to do. Okay, so title cannot be too long or too detailed, but cannot be too short without information. So you have to balance. For example, here they give example, a 3-year study of population decline in spotted salamander following different season logging, road building, wetland. This is too panjang and too many parameters. Yeah, they are doing all this, but doesn't mean that all have to be in the title. Sekejap saya nak minum. Cakap depan komputer ni kadang-kadang sakit tekak.
Boleh.
Silakan Dr.
Abang, you all minum lah. Okay. So yes, kalau example, okay, ni dia cuba betulkan. A study of population decline in the spotted salamander following logging in Pulau Bayau. So maknanya dia tak mention semua benda. Memanglah semua benda tu dibuat. Memang semua benda tu penting. Tapi title ni tak boleh panjang. Title ni bukan satu, orang kata satu paragraf. But main information have to be there. Pulau Bayau ada, logging ada. So ambil keyword penting je. Tapi not too general, macam tiba-tiba population decline, Salamina population decline at Pulau Bayau. Tapi dia tak cerita pasal logging, tak boleh juga. Jadi important apa orang kata parameter logging tu. Tapi kena remove lah mana yang lain. Sometimes you have to orang kata sit down to think what is relevant, what is not relevant. Because title ni should reflect what you are doing at the same time. But it cannot be too detailed. Okay, habitat model for use. Okay, habitat model for use in rivers. So you don't know what are river, what habitat they're talking about. So validation of in-stream habitat model. So model dia ada macam-macam model. Here in-stream habitat model. Okay, kena clear. Bila dah mention model kena specific. For the Fenton River, which river? Fenton River, Connecticut, for example. Okay, so you should know the balance. You cannot be too macam tak ada information langsung. Title should have all the information like parameters, variable yang you use dalam you punya research. Okay, you tahu kan apa maksud variable, independent variable, control variable semua you tahu kan? Tahu
Yes.
Oh,
Kelas Dr. Faiza, I think dia dah cover. Okay, we go to objective. Objective should be clear, inclusive and concise. Okay, clear, inclusive maknanya tak ada benda kritikal yang termiss. Tapi concise. Okay, again, the same way we treat for the title, the same way we treat for the objective. Use of important keywords in the subject area is recommended. Okay, kat sini kita kata dalam objektif pun kena ada keyword. Keyword dia termasuklah variable yang you pakai. Maybe if you are working with probiotic bacteria, I have to mention the strain of my bacteria. If you're working with maybe down kesum, I have to mention scientific name whatsoever. Okay, scientific name to be, tak boleh mention daun kesum je. Kan? Kalau you are working with certain type of plants, herbs, or you are studying enzyme from insects, you have to mention what insects. Okay, this is very crucial, but not too detailed. Okay, again similar way we did it for title. Try to incorporate the detail of each work or routine work. No, objektif tak boleh tiba-tiba dia kata objektif ni ialah untuk nak sequence DNA ataupun nak grow bacteria, nak to grow bacteria and sequence DNA. Tujuan you sequence bacteria is to identify the bacteria, bukan nak sequence. So jangan guna methodology as part of your objective. Okay, objektif ni sebenarnya bila kita kata kita nak identify the bacteria, kita buatlah sequencing, kita buat biochemical test, kita buat macam-macam. Okay, tapi kita tak boleh kata objektif untuk conduct biochemical test for this bacteria from maybe fish guts, for example. Okay, tak boleh. So objektif ni, so you kena faham beza antara objektif dengan metodologi ni, dia tak boleh sama. Student sometimes put objektif ni dengan macam metodologi, tak boleh. Okay, so tujuan dia buat benda ni ialah untuk sequence sebenarnya. Okay, can have main objective and sub objective. Sometimes you can have main objective, you can have sub objective juga. Okay, tak perlu limited. Okay, tapi not every research proposal must have that lah. Okay, sometimes sub objective membantu menerangkan lebih what your objective. Okay, contohnya untuk characterize or to identify the bacteria. Okay, stop. Okay, identification of bacteria were conducted by biochemical test and ribosomal RNA sequencing. for example. Okay, you explain lagi another word to subjective. Maknanya identify dengan dua cara. Satu biochemical test, satu dengan ribosomal RNA sequencing. Okay. Contohnya kalau you ada untuk characterize the inhibitory effect of extract from down chromosome, for example. Okay, inhibitory effect. But inhibitory effect you conducted maybe on what? On cancer cell. On what? It can be part of the subjective. But sometimes subjective also can be relocated into second objective, third objective. It can stand alone. Okay? Or it contribute to significant division in your work. You divide your work into several stages, for example, division. Then you can divide according to the objective. Sebenarnya objektif ini bantu kita organize juga. Okay? Should relate how the work will be carried out to answer the research question. Okay? So objektif ni, okay, relate also, okay, dengan you punya work. Okay, work yang akan you buat. Okay, dan ini akan help you answer the research question. So kita tak go through research question lagi kan? So nanti kita akan go through. So objective also must include variables and parameters that you are studying. So in your research you have independent variable, you have dependent variable, you have control variable and macam-macam variables. Okay, but the main one is dependent variable and independent variable and control variable. And also you have parameters. Okay, parameter mungkin to characterize the stability of enzyme in high temperatures, in different temperatures. So your parameters is different temperatures. Your keyword is enzyme. Mungkin enzyme lipase, for example, kan? So lipase at different temperatures. So your parameter ni usually condition or things like temperatures and things. Variables also can be temperatures, kan? So depend. These two sometimes can orang kata interchange. Okay. Tapi parameter ni lebih kepada condition you change. Okay, at different temperature, at different soil composition. So you ternak udang at different nutrient composition. You exposed to maybe high salts and low salts. Okay, you have percentage of salts. Okay, so depend on what variable you are using. Okay, high temperature, different temperature. So usually parameter ni ada condition that you vary after you have all those variables. So don't confuse. Objective will determine what are your conclusion and your finding. So sometimes I found that some student their conclusion and their finding tak relate dengan objektif. Objektif nak cari benda ni, tapi bila dia buat conclusion tak ada kaitan. So in science, all this must be connected. Kalau you nak find the sebab itu objektif kena clear, tak boleh mention like very general like the potensi untuk mencari potensi sesuatu chemical. So potensi tu very general. You kena make it very very concise, very clear. So tadi dia kata clear, inclusive and concise. Maknanya kena clear tau. Maknanya you tak boleh mention nak mencari potensi probiotik ni in the future. Potensi dari segi apa? Parameter tu kena clear. Parameter how good it is. How good tu dari segi apa? Kan? So bila you talk about objektif, kena ada variable, kena ada parameter. Okay? Clear. Tak boleh cakap benda atas angin. Tak boleh. Kena clear. Kena ada. So when you think about objektif, variable kena clear, parameter kena clear. Temperature, Okay, that's why you have to sit down to think about your research you are doing. Okay, and what parameters. You cannot just untuk mencari potensi atau untuk find the characteristic, for example. Tak apa, you can write the characteristic to determine to characterize the enzyme from bacteria bla 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 bla. So bila kita kata characterize, maknanya thermostability, temperature stability, salt stability, pH stability, for example, banyak lagi lah, kan? So characterization tu kena ada, kan? Tapi kalau kau nak tulis untuk to find the potency of the enzyme, but you don't know what the potency of the enzyme, but to characterize the enzyme, and scientifically sounds. Objective will determine what are the conclusion. Okay, this is very important. Later on lah, you buat conclusion when you get your results. The use of future tense for action to determine to measure. Remember, dalam objektif kita always pakai future tense. Kita tak pakai past tense, kita tak pakai present, kita tak pakai even present tense. Kita pakai future tense to, okay, to determine, to measure. Okay, so this have to be start with is to be safe, play safe. You start with to something. Okay, okay, research hypothesis. Okay, this one has been discussed, I think, in Dr. Faizah class. Relate to the list of research question. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, what are, when you do a research, okay, you have your problem statement just now. Okay, even though you have your problem statement, you also have research question. Okay, research question tu, okay, then baru you ada research hypothesis. Okay, hypothesis is very important in science. Bila you want to think in scientific way, you must have hypothesis. So bila you nak menuduh atau mengklaim atau label atau memberi apa kata judgement pada sesuatu, sebelum tu you must have evidence, or sebelum tu you must have hypothesis. Bila you nak buat something judgement yang mungkin baru, new, you must have hypothesis. Okay, in science, scientific way thinking, not only in science, in all orang kata aspect of our life, okay, we must have hypothesis, something that we before we predict something. Okay, so based on scientific principle. Okay, when we say scientific principle, it can be physics, math, based on physics, mathematics, chemistry and so on. What are the principles? Okay, so something kalau tiba-tiba you nak cerita tentang benda tu tapi tak based on, tak go against the scientific principle, then cannot be accepted lah. Okay, you have to prove that baru you ni kan, then you open a new research and so on. Okay, maksud based on scientific principle ni sebenarnya very deep and wide. Okay, okay, what should have happened to the variable that you are studying? Okay, so you dah ada variable tadi. Okay, variable you mungkin you want to find the thermostability of the enzyme, okay, in different temperature. Okay, for example, so variable dia enzymes. Okay, different temperature, you exposed to different temperatures. So enzyme tu mungkin akan stay active at high temperature, but inactivate at low temperature because the enzyme is thermostable. So that hypothesis yang, because the enzyme ni kita ambil daripada organism yang stay dekat hot spring kan, hot spring ni air panas kan, kita ambil bakteria ni daripada air panas, kita then test dia punya lipase activity at high temperature, tengok lipase dia boleh function ke tak kan. Kita punya prediction is enzyme tu patut boleh, tapi temperature berapa kita tak tahu, tapi temperature dia kena high, tak boleh 30 degree Celsius. So hypothesis kita ialah dia akan stable kat high temperature. Berapa high temperature we don't know. So kalau high temperature 80-90, it's a bonus for us. It's a novel for us. It's a brand new. Kalau 60 okey lah. Tapi tiba-tiba kalau 60 pun tak boleh, bakteria tu daripada hot spring. Tapi kita test temperature tak boleh tiba-tiba. Semua temperature dekat room temperature je. Tu maknanya hipotesis kita dah lari. Tapi bila kita tak dapat benda ikut hipotesis, bukan maknanya kita fail. Kita perlu explanation. Tu scientific way of thinking. Kita kena explain adakah hipotesis kita tu perlu diubah suai, atau there is an error, or there is the enzyme the bacteria that we get actually, there's something wrong with, bila kita buat growth experiment sebenarnya high temperature tu sebenarnya dia tak grow, dia sebenarnya benda lain. Contohnya kita tak tahu. So for if you're doing the research, you know what your issue. So bila kita ada satu hipotesis, kita tak dapat hipotesis tu. Hipotesis tu kena ada. Hipotesis tu based on scientific principle. Sometimes maksud scientific ni based on logic. Okay? So based on established logic. Okay? From the observation, then you derive a conclusion. Okay? So when you get your finding, after you conduct the experiment, you get your observation. Then tiba-tiba your observation kata, oh bakteria ni macam ni. Okay, your bacteria can grow at your enzyme can function at 80 degrees Celsius. So maknanya betul lah, memang bakteria ni memang can function at high degree Celsius. Kita ambil dekat hot springs. So similar with other work done maybe in Japan. So kita get the same bacteria and so on. Answer the research question. Tapi research question dia, kita tak semestinya kita research question yang ada research question lain. Apa kegunaan enzim ni dalam industri? Ada question dia. So ada banyak benda dalam question tu yang kita boleh gali, yang kita boleh find to make our proposal stronger. So remember, we are talking about if I'm talking about FRGS research, for example, I have to convince the ministry or the panel who look at my proposal, because all researchers are submitting their proposal. I have to find way how to make my proposal stronger. I have to think about what in the hypothesis, I have to think about what in the literature review, I have to think about what in the objective, I have to think mana yang boleh bagi kuat, saya akan kuatkan. Okay? Tapi ada setengah kes tak dapat juga, sebab maknanya research ni very competitive. Okay? So kita tak boleh shock sendiri, cerita kita je yang nak, tapi kita kena tengok impact kepada society. So saya dah dapat enzim ni, apa society boleh benefit? Wah, kat situ juga kegunaan dia. So saya kena cari where can it be applied lah. Kan? So background sometimes overlap with introduction of a proposal. Okay, so background ni sometimes is a summary pun ada. So sometimes ada orang kata summary, ada orang kata part of intro. Some proposal dia ada background juga, dia ada intro juga. So macam-macam format lah. Proposal ni dia ada format. Okay. Sometimes overlap with introduction. Actually summary of all part of proposal in brief, but you put in a holistic, succinctly, and in a connected flow of idea. So it's clear and easy to understand. Okay, but in a flow of ideas. But remember, background is not a literature review. Literature review, you ada section lain yang akan explain everything. Okay, background usually you have a summary or 1 or 2 line of intro. What's your problem? Why your research important? What are other studies done in the area? Briefly, ni semua brief. How did you do? How is the research? What the research? So this is more like sometimes ada proposal dia put this under executive summary pun ada. Okay, so depending on the proposal, but it's a summary of everything. So you mention 1 or 2 line lah. Okay, abstract. Okay, this one. Okay, abstract for proposal mainly in 1 paragraph. Okay, mostly lah in 1 paragraph, but there are some articles or some journal or some maybe proposal format that requires something else, but mostly 1 paragraph. Begin with 1 or 2 line of background. Always start 1 or 2 lines of your abstract with background. So background tadi yang content tadi macam-macam. Okay, ada yang masuk semua benda tapi impossible nak masuk semua benda. Benda yang catchy lah, benda yang kalau orang pandang you punya research, orang rasa nak baca, orang rasa nak tengok, orang rasa nak give duit. Kan? Begin with 1 2 lines of background. So this is very general statement lah sebenarnya. Kan? Tapi normally 1 or 2 lines je. This is a brief description of hypothesis, goals, objective, and what you should expect. Hypothesis. Okay, you should expect to find in your finding. So remember, kalau you baca research article, the extract is a little bit different. The extract contain the result, finding, and conclusion. But in proposal, you don't have results, but you have hypothesis, you have goals, objective, and what you predict to happen. Okay. In the end, abstract should contain your hypothesis, your research question, but you don't put your research question in the form of question, but you put your sentence incorporate in idea of your research question. You don't put like tanda soal kat situ. Research question ni sometimes bukan tanda soal tau. Dia a few statement. Okay. Statement of problem pun ada, ni pun ada. It's just like a summary of a background again. Okay. So something that show everything, but even only the important thing. Okay. Some work maybe dia punya emphasis dekat hypothesis. Some work dia punya emphasis mungkin dekat what you expect to find. Kan? Apa your result going to be? How your enzymes going to perform at high temperature. Kan? So benda-benda macam tu. Okay. So depend on your research also, your parameters, your variable and so on. Okay. So benda tu tak ada general format lah, tapi benda all the thing that important thing you have to be there. Okay. Literature review. Okay. This is very general. I don't really have to go through all for literature review because everybody actually more or less has been familiar with. So what important thing about literature review is that it try to explain, you have to show, use the keyword in your title, statement of problem, research question and so on. So kalau saya buat tentang enzim, saya kena cerita tentang enzim lipase. Okay. So dalam title saya ada enzim lipase. Saya tulis lah, kalau dalam title saya ada tentang kesum, saya kena ceritalah tentang background, scientific background of a kesum. What other researcher are doing. Siapa orang lain yang dah buat yang paling latest. So important to have access to the latest research article or advancement being done in that particular area. Okay, you must know what ada. Don't you can use previous paper but not to like out of date, like 2006 is too long. People dah buat macam-macam dah. Okay, mungkin methodology pun dah improve a lot. Okay, some area within 10 years dia dah bertukar banyak. Okay, for example, I take example COVID-19 again. Okay, kalau you nak buat research pasal apa ni, enzyme virus. Okay, so example, enzyme to compound that can inhibit viral replication, for example. So now people are talking about spike protein, for example. Okay, now the latest article banyak cerita pasal spike protein daripada coronavirus. Kalau you ambil 2006, even SARS je lah. Tapi SARS pun information masa tu limited. So you tak boleh pakai lah. Tak boleh pakai untuk current punya situation. So it has to be important to be up to date. Okay, show what is interesting and cutting edge. Okay, you have to know what are the latest being done, what are the what's so interesting. Okay, use the plethora of sources, journal article, textbook, wherever textbook is relevant. Sometimes you can use textbook but not all part is textbook. Website, sometimes website kita boleh cite tapi we have to be very careful with the source and the legitimacy or the authenticity of the website. Okay, maybe the website from the government body, from the certain agency, as example WHO, then you can use the data or the figures. But kalau daripada third party yang you tak tahu sources dia, tak tahu siapa, maybe unrecognized, then you cannot use as a important data lah. Okay, kalau dah tak ada sangat, then sometimes that's the only source of data. But the panel will look at whether because the data are you use to support your statement, kan? So your statement tu critical. So kita nak tahulah, so kita tengoklah dekat website whether your statement tu betul ke tak. Tu important. Depend on what research area you are doing lah. Personal communication with professor. Sometimes you're talking with somebody very prominent in the area, also can be recorded and can be put as a citation. Sometimes, okay, somebody very well known. For example, you jumpa maybe prime minister say, kita punya COVID-19 dah improve, so we can take that statement as a figures, kan? Sebab dia daripada prominence punya orang kan, from orang-orang yang prominent, yang recognizable, people know it. So but you must have citation bila statement tu dibuat and so on. That also possible, but benda ni you talking about social science, banyak lah benda-benda macam tu. Tapi dalam scientific research, mungkin bila you nak explain tentang disease or condition of the maybe social data, then important. Sebab kadang-kadang social data tu dia tak ada dalam artikel, figure tu, kan? Sometimes lah, tapi most of the time kalau you cari ada je, kan? So make sure you cite appropriately the text. Okay, follow the citation. Never leave your reader in doubt as to. Sometimes you keluarkan statement dalam you punya paragraph, sometimes need citation, sometimes don't need citation. Kalau general tak payahlah. Kalau macam contohnya ice is made of water, itu very general, tak payahlah citation, kan? Tapi kalau benda tu baru, ice is made of maybe green water, then baru citation, then you kena citation. Kalau very general tak payah. Kalau too much general sangat, the whole pages is too much general, that means that's not research article lah. You have to go back to your objective, look again at your statement of problem and so on. Okay, so this is how we do. How to cite scientific writing is a thirst, clear, have to be very clear lah, simple, clear cut, lacking in artistic enhancement. Okay. Maksud artistic ni maknanya kalau you write article about science article, different from you write about arts, kan? You tak guna nama I, you, jangan guna perkataan I, you, they dalam scientific article or proposal. Never use that. But some students use, sometimes students they mention, I use this because the temperature is. Avoid guna ganti nama dalam thesis. Same way with research proposal. Okay. So setiap benda yang statement yang nak buat tu boleh digunakan tanpa ganti nama sebenarnya. So contohnya, I use this bacteria because it can grow at low temperature. I tu. This bacteria is used because ability to grow at lower temperature. Kan? So different tu. I tu. Jangan. Okay. Citation tend to be, okay, author, yeah, this is common lah, common. Tapi ada macam-macam format lah. So currently kita boleh guna EndNotes, tapi biasa guna EndNotes ataupun Mendeley and so on. So saya biasa guna EndNotes tapi saya tak pakai Mendeley. So saya boleh set whether dia nak format apa, APA dia pakai author year, kan? So sekarang ni jangan buat manually lah. Sekarang dah ada macam-macam software yang membantu. Dulu zaman-zaman saya dulu masa belajar buat thesis semua manual, tak ada EndNote ni semua. So kita kena, kalau ada 300 literature tu kita kena tulis one by one, masuk one by one, type. Sekarang semua link je. So thing changes, so people can write better. Okay, if you refer to the author in the sentence, immediately follow the name with year. Okay, so sometimes author atau year. Okay, this is very common lah. Okay, you have to look at the format. Avoid text quoting directly. Read the piece. So kalau you nak refer kat sesuatu artikel, okay, you akan tengok, contohnya you nak refer orang artikel tu kata apa. Okay, read and put the article down and try to fahamkan apa sebenarnya dia nak kata. Adakah betul statement tu dengan apa yang you fikir? Look balik artikel tu punya maybe objective and problems, or apa purpose of the article tu. Okay, apa relevantnya artikel tu. Okay, so mungkin dia apa yang you think different from statement dekat artikel tu. Okay, you pun copy dia punya statement ayat tu, you masuk dalam ni. So tak boleh you kena rephrase balik ayat dia tu according to, so that ayat you can connected with your paragraph. You cannot just simply, sebab itu bila saya baca setengah artikel atau assignment, saya tengok macam ayat dia ni dah lah cut and paste, tapi bila kita baca dia tak connected dengan sentences dia in other paragraph. Sebab dia dia sendiri pun tak baca apa. So kita tak nak macam tu. Okay, if you want to copy or cite and everything, try to understand what they are doing. Try to understand. Kalau you tak faham apa artikel tu, you cari artikel lain. Okay. So there are simple article, there are harder article. So more technical sometimes. By setting the article aside, you are allowing yourself to think and process. So this is very important as a scientific method. Think and process the information instead of just rewrite the idea only slightly with slightly altered sentence. Okay. So sekarang ni kalau plagiarism pula, kita software pun boleh detect kalau ayat tu sama. Okay. So most important, do not cut and paste the text. Always think and rewrite. Okay. So dalam in English ni ya kena rewrite. So IIM student we expect they shouldn't have any problem. Okay. So that's how you want to cite. Never cut and paste. Jangan just copy directly sentence word by word. Always change the sentence. Sometimes get the idea, change the sentence, but the idea is the same. Kan? So that's one way lah. Banyak benda lagi sebenarnya kalau nak discuss pasal benda ni. Okay. So material and method very important. Describe your proposed experiment in depth. Okay, what process method you are going to do, sequence of the process, logical order. Okay, this is where you put all your method in place in logical order. Okay, lepas you grow the bacteria, you sequence the genes. Lepas tu baru you extract the enzyme. So the method extract enzyme tu last. Lepas tu you baru characterize HPLC, for example, the compound yang dia produce the bacteria. So tiba-tiba tak boleh lah mula-mula you cerita pasal HPLC. Kan? Be thorough but not excessive. Maknanya benda-benda tak terlampau detail sampai benda kecil pun, cara nak prepare buffer pun, cara nak calibrate pH meter pun dia masuk kan. So maknanya tak adalah sampai macam tu. Kan? So be thorough. Thorough nak kena thorough tapi tak adalah excessive. Kan? Sampai thorough ni maknanya people nak tahu macam mana apa yang you ukur dalam unit temperature tu. How you prepare, what pH you use. If people temperature tapi pH tak beritahu, nak kena tahu jugalah. Tapi tak adalah sampai nak kena bagi tahu macam mana you prepare pH of the solution. Kan? Benda tu ada dalam appendix kalau perlulah, kalau necessary. Kalau pH is a very important parameters in your research, then how you prepare the pH should be in the appendix. People might query kan. It might be useful to construct an outline and a flowchart. So kadang-kadang student dah biasa prepare flowchart, so I don't have to go through very well. But good flowchart explain your understanding your research. Sometimes you forgot. Sometimes it's very important to let the reader understand quickly your research. Don't let the reader confuse. Always forgot that sometimes they let the reader of your proposal be confused. Okay. Sometimes flowchart pun confused. Flowchart tu sendiri confused. Okay. So find a good flowchart. Just arrange your arrows and things like that. See what is the logic. What type of data sample size? Okay, this siapa buat macam population study. Okay. Kalau dia buat macam sekarang ni kita tengok orang buat orang kata antiviral study kan, pakai compounds. So how many clinical study, how many people, okay, what kind of equipment supply necessary, okay. So all these are you have to record everything. You have logbook and you record everything. Okay, contohnya macam case my student, dia dah graduate a long time ago. Okay, suddenly I found that I need to publish her papers, the undergraduate. So it so happen dia punya copy tak ada dengan saya. Saya cuma ada dia punya some draft and then some DNA sequence, for example. So saya cari apa dia buat tak ada. Tapi luckily saya jumpa dia punya logbook. So suddenly she's very good at writing logbook, very clear. So everything was there. Very nice. So I write a paper on that work. So in that case, otherwise I cannot do anything. So this is important to have logbook also. A clear logbook that you write everything clearly. Your method. Sometimes the result pun dia tampal kat logbook juga. Ada dalam thesis, ada dalam logbook. Sekarang everything you ada dalam folder komputer hilang, result pun hilang. So this is a problem. So kalau yang dah kerja tu saya contact kadang-kadang dah tak ada dah doktor, komputer saya dah kaput dah lama dah. Tak boleh lah, tak ada apa lah. So your replicates. So important in science to have replicates. Okay. Apa-apa yang kita buat pastikan at least ada replicate. Then you cannot rely on one data. Okay. Then bila dah ada replicate, apa your source of error? Kan? Katalah you kata ubat ni can be reduce the blood pressure. Tapi you buat satu je. So questionable lah. Bila you publish, then ethical issue. So kena ada replicates. Okay. So always remember put your article aside and read your article. I think yang data sampel ni tak apa pun sangat lah, nanti kita go through. So far I think sampai sini dulu. Okay, I end the presentation. Oh, ada seorang nak masuk. Okay, so far ada siapa-siapa yang nak tanya? Ada apa-apa?
Doktor, tadi doktor ada mention software yang doktor guna untuk site. Doktor boleh beritahu
Software guna untuk?
Site citation.
Okay. Saya biasa guna EndNotes.
EndNotes.
EndNote.
Okay.
Tapi EndNote ni universiti sometimes kita tak pakai software ni secara sendiri ke. Sometimes your university akan subscribe. So you boleh dapat daripada universiti. Tapi UIA saya ingat UIA pakai Mendeley. Mendeley. So Mendeley ni kita boleh pakai dapat download free rasanya. Cuma masalah bila saya install Mendeley dalam saya punya Word, dia akan keluar dalam Word nanti tau. Dia punya button tu. Masalahnya dia akan ganggu saya punya EndNotes. Dia akan konflik. Dia kacau EndNotes saya. So saya terpaksa delete Mendeley. Saya tak tahu lah yang version sekarang, tapi that's experience saya ni. So saya dah biasa, sebab saya dah biasa guna EndNote, tapi prinsip dua-dua sama je. So bagus dia sistem ni, dia menyenangkan kerja lah. I think you all kalau ada masa, you all please lah belajar tentang EndNote atau Mendeley. It's really help, especially bila you all buat assignment. Tapi assignment mungkin tak banyak reference, tapi nak write reference, nak code, nak put at the end of your assignment, kalau dah 5 tak apa, kalau dah 10 reference, then it's very difficult. Kalau macam thesis tu kita ada at least more than 40 or 50 reference. So how you reference sekarang, some reference ni sometimes some examiner, you're talking about thesis, sometimes they look at the reference, whether you wrongly type or format error and so on, the name of the journal, artikel, page tak ada. Tu kalau boleh benda-benda kecil macam tu kita tak nak lah. Kan? So masa you all buat assignment tu, masa tu you train yourself. Be familiar with all this. Kan? Tapi masa ni you can learn lah EndNote. Memang menyenangkan. Tapi EndNote dengan Mendeley lebih kurang je. So ada lagi?
Background sama tak dengan overview, Doktor?
Overview ada juga, sama. Okay, depend on some proposal overview tu macam abstract.
Oh.
Some overview tu background. Some just something before you start your literature review. Macam kita punya thesis, saya perasan student punya thesis master, sebelum kita start literature review, dia orang start dengan introduction. Introduction tu sebenarnya dia ada summary of everything. So things are, don't worry, these things are sometimes overlap. But what important thing is anything other than literature review is something that try to summarize everything. Okay, on top of that you ada abstract lah. Abstract tu lagi summary. Kan?
Betul.
Panjang sikit lah sebenarnya daripada abstract. Overview and
ya, dia panjang sikit. Dia macam sometimes you nak put everything dalam abstract tak boleh. You nak bagi tahu yang research you ni atau paper article you ni very significant. Sometimes nak put everything dalam abstract tu tak boleh, sebab abstract itself mungkin kena, kalau research article dia kena ada result. Kalau proposal you nak fokus dekat problems and hypothesis. So the best thing to spare something extra is inside introduction ataupun overview.
Betul. Kalau tak pun background tak apa tu.
Depend on the format apa yang disuruh. Kalau you nak submit, contohnya dalam grant untuk application FRGS, dia ada background. Ada executive summary, ada background lagi. Lepas tu ada literature review. Tapi kalau thesis lain lah pula. Depend on the format sekarang ni. Cuma you kena faham, ada literature review ni lebih detail for everything. Kan? Dia nak cerita detail lah benda-benda pasal contohnya kalau you buat tentang enzyme lipase, cerita pasal lipase tapi detail. Kan? Origin of lipase, use of lipase in industry. Takkan benda tu kita nak cerita dalam background. Background ni fokus lebih terarah, lebih pada apa yang you all nak buat, apa yang problem yang you face, dan apa yang you nak buat to solve that problems. So dia ada macam satu orang kata connected flow of ideas. Dia bukan secara rambang tak. Literature ni lebih random, lebih rambang lah. Dia macam tak terarah sangat. Tapi literature still kita fokus pada benda yang kita nak buat. Title kita. Not too general. Okay.
Satu lagi, Doktor, about the objective. Normally yang saya jumpa objektif ni biasanya letak dekat the last paragraph of introduction.
Untuk apa? Untuk thesis ke?
Itu saya nak tanya. Dia ada, kalau untuk yang lain dia ada spesifik.
Dia kebanyakannya untuk thesis biasanya objektif dia akan letak at the end of the introduction. Sebab introduction kita explain macam-macam kan. Last kali baru ada objektif. And this is common for proposal. But you have to be very clear lah. Okay. Hypothesis, research question, where we have research problem, kan? Lepas tu research problem ada research question. Dalam research problem tu ada research question. Research question tu bring down to your hypothesis. Kan? Dari hypothesis tu baru then your objective. Okay, itu yang perlu ada dalam you punya proposal. Main part of your proposal. Bila you dah buat research article, sebenarnya research question dengan statement of problem tu ada tapi dah tak banyak. Sebab everything is more toward your observation, your findings and your conclusion based on hypothesis. Hypothesis tu ada tapi very orang kata tak, not really extensive lah. Proposal ni very extensive. Okay. Important about proposal ni sebab you akan guna proposal ni untuk present it or submit it to certain panel or authorities that want to read at your proposal and will decide whether they want to give support or funding to your research. So contohnya dalam FRJS misalnya, katalah kita ada 400 orang apply, tapi yang dapat mungkin 80 orang. So nak pilih 80 orang, nak reject lagi 400 tu macam mana? Kena tengoklah objektif, kena tengoklah dunia content of the research proposal. Last sekali kalau dah semua okey, kena tengok format. Format tak ejaan salah je terpaksa reject. Kadang-kadang dah semua bagus. Kan? Macam itulah.
Kalau ini review and then dia minta tulis research methodology, apa content dia kalau kita letak dalam tu?
Review apa?
Kalau in an article review, then dia ada section dia suruh tulis pasal research methodology.
Article review. Depend on what article is all about. Kena tengok apa artikel tu. You kena sit back and tengok balik apa tujuan artikel tu. Tak kisah apa-apa review, tak kisah content dia. But apa tujuan you put in place artikel tu. You kena tengok balik tujuan you buat artikel tu untuk apa. Kan? Tak kisah apa-apa content, tak apa. You're talking about review apa? Review artikel.
I mean like macam dia ada part dia minta research methodology. Is it similar with methodology?
Actually I don't quite understand what article you are trying to make. It's not clear to me.
Okay, specific issues.
Specific
Nak tanya apa?
I mean like apa yang dalam research methodology tu apa yang kena tulis lah.
Articles.
Dia
Dia nak buat artikel tentang research methodology.
Bukan.
Doktor. Macam ni doktor.
Okay.
Ada assignment article review. Dan dalam assignment tu ada satu part tu kena buat research methodology. So apa yang kena ada dalam research methodology tu?
Assignment tu pasal research review.
Critical review.
Critical review on what? Ada topik spesifik topik tak?
Random.
Different
Can be
article.
pen
Different
number
article
paper.
for different
Ha?
people.
Aku
Setiap
tak
orang
faham.
ada different article.
Oh, okay.
So semua kena review artikel masing-masing.
Okay. So kena comments.
Kena komen.
You comment lah. Research methodology tu you kenalah komen. Based on, I tak tahu lah, research methodology ni actually is a very, assignment or research methodology is very wide. Depend on what the instructor want. Kalau saya nak komen dalam bentuk apa yang saya emphasize. Mungkin saya nak tanya tentang apa orang kata, what are the statement of problem, what is the hypothesis, what is the objective. From there.
Very
And, kalau saya lah, and can you comment on that? But mungkin ada people, ada instructor may emphasize different. So kena tengok apa yang instructor tu nak. Because benda ni I rasa tak spesifik. Kan, you kena discuss balik dengan instructor tu sebenarnya apa yang dia nak. Ha. Sebab saya tak boleh sebab saya tak boleh just orang kata define because I might give you the wrong target, nanti you tak dapat submit the right content to your instructor.
Faham.
So apa yang instructor tu emphasize balik lah. I will give you one assignment on looking at the research paper, to look at the statement of problems and to look at the hypothesis, but on the article that not related to your research area.
Ni macam dalam
Assignment.
dia, berapa persen dia tu? Ini berapa persen ni?
Yang tu lah, yang last tu lah. Another 10% yang last tu nanti. Yang 30%.
Oh.
Yang you kena present.
Okay.
So far yang tu lah yang saya fikir assignment. Saya pun tak tahu nak buat assignment apa lagi. Sebab research methodology ni sebenarnya very sebab saya rasa macam kita tahu nak bagi the same assignment, macam student kadang-kadang saya tak tahu student ni sebenarnya they got what I want the student to gain. So kali ni saya nak buat something, student kena try to understand artikel di luar bidang dia. Kira lah social science ke engineering ke IT ke, tapi yang dia boleh faham lah, bukan yang too complicated. So that apa dia punya content, apa dia punya tu, and that's what I intend to do lah. Okay.
Betul.
So ada lagi?
Betul.
Ya.
Contoh kalau kita dah write proposal and proposal kita diterima.
Okay.
So kalau masa kita buat research tu, kita ada macam ada circumstances yang kita macam kena tukar certain thing, macam objektif ke, hypothesis ke. Boleh.
Maksud you bila you dah proposal you diterima, okay. Then
Macam waktu kita buat research tu macam kita kena tukar objektif ke, hypothesis ke.
okay, that's normal. Okay, this is normal. Okay, don't think that changes is something big. Okay, macam contoh along the way bila kita buat research, sometimes kita tak tahu outcome of kita punya research. Contohnya waktu saya start one of our project to one of your friends, okay, kita design contoh 3 objektif. Okay, saya nak dapat bakteria ni. Bakteria ni kita screen daripada jagung, for example. So, kita ambil jagung tu, kita ambil perut dia, kita keluarkan bakteria tu. Then kita identify that bacteria. Then kita test whether bacteria can inhibit other bacterium. Then kita try to characterize substance being produced by this bacterium yang menyebabkan that inhibition. Okay, then kita try juga to understand whether the substance is a proteins or non-proteins. So if the protein, we want to purify that protein. So in that case, kita tak tahu tiba-tiba berlakunya COVID-19 and MCO, for example. So out of the circumstances, ada last 2 objektif tu tak boleh di-achieve. So kita understand lah, tak apa, kita buang lah objektif tu. In my case, I buang yang last tu sebab yang awal-awal tu semua boleh di-achieve. But in some instructor, some supervisor found that they have to change some title, some ni. So but changes can happen not only because of COVID, but can open because of sometime technical problem that you have during your project. Sometimes equipment failure, sometimes you punya result mungkin not up to the what you expect. Sometimes you have to change some part of your methodology because technical problem, mungkin equipment tu rosak ataupun chemical tu tak ada. Kita realise tu along the way. This is normal. That's why you need to discuss things with your supervisors on and on, so that all this problem can be addressed. So it's normal to change the proposal. Proposal is for final year project always change, but for the purpose of submission and presentation is a training purpose. But later on it will be when you do your result, your final presentation, you prepare your thesis. Maybe some material will change, some methodology will change. Maybe some of your objective will change. Because of MCO, ada student kena tukar title, kena tukar work jadi review paper and so on. So depend on the orang kata condition and the situation lah. So changes is normal in the process. Don't worry about if you didn't achieve what you want to achieve in your objective. Okay? But always objektif, macam orang kata lah, kita buat dia, bukan dia buat kita. So kita tak dapat, kita tukar objektif. But you have to be very very sound lah. Okay, don't worry kalau kita bukan stuck dengan objektif je. Okay, sometimes objektif can change. Sometimes the student can ask the supervisor to change your objective because you kata ni tak sesuai. You baca lebih, you tahu lebih, then you beritahu supervisor you, doktor ni saya tak boleh buat, tak boleh buat. Tapi you kena support with the good information lah. Kan? So yang masalahnya kita tak tahu, kita tunggu supervisor, kita pun tak tahu. Tu masalah sebab kita pun tak baca, supervisor pun busy, saya pun busy, student pun tak datang jumpa saya, tu harap-harap saya tukar. Memang toward last minute dia tiba ada benda tak boleh buat. Kalau daripada awal kita realise tak apa. So we have to, student also have to be very critical about the flow of the process. Okay.
Okay.
Yelah, ada supervisor jenis macam dia tak suka dia orang kata dia dictate to change the objective kan. Tapi that's why kita kena convince, kita kena ada good apa orang kata support information that mungkin benda ni tak ada. You yang tahu, mungkin chemical tu tak ada kat lab. Sometimes supervisor tak tahu. Contohnya. Kan? Tapi kalau you mungkin tak datang lab, tak buat kerja ke apa, toward the end baru you realise, itu yang stuck. Okay? Sometimes some chemical kita realise lah, tapi kadang-kadang semua chemical tak ada. Yang kita tak ada dalam senarai tu, kita tak realise benda tu ada, patutnya ada. Ada juga. So kita terpaksa mungkin tukar the whole protocol because of that problem.
Okay.
Okay, ada apa-apa lagi? Kalau tak ada, kita end the session. And all the notes saya dah upload dekat iTaklim. So please take a look on the iTaklim and don't forget to QR your attendance for this session. Saya ada attendance dalam ni 36 ni, tapi saya tak tahu saya kena upload Excel tu macam mana. Too many technical thing we need to learn lah. Itu Zoom saya tak tahu. Ni at least Google Meet ada juga attendance. Kalau saya tu saya pakai yang I10 tu sebab senang. Jadi dia masuk kat situ. Okay. So please don't forget to saya start pukul 10 habis pukul 12 kan. So sebelum pukul 12 tu make sure you QR code kan you all punya attendance ni for the record purpose. Okay. So next week kita sambung with this lagi, kita sambung dengan etik lah. Etik, then later on baru kita sambung to research paper writing. Research paper writing nanti lah kita boleh discuss apa nak tanya ke apa. Nanti Syazmi minta dapatkan senarai group
Okay, boleh.
bagi senarai group so that I can senang lah nanti.
Excel lah.
Nanti saya bagi, you ada Excel copy tak?
Excel copy, apa tu? Nama.
Excel list nama.
Ada kot, macam ada Syah.
List name semua student ada?
Ada.
Ada.
Tak apalah, nanti Syazmi bagi saya kalau tak ada, Syazmi bagi saya email, nanti saya emailkan. Saya emailkan tu. Just senang je sebab kalau buka iTaklim sistem ni macam kadang-kadang very ni lah because sometimes iTaklim saya kadang-kadang saya nak isi apa orang kata, nak buat soalan dalam iTaklim tu kita kena type one by one tau. Kita tak boleh cut and paste.
Faham.
Kalau saya tak nak, saya kena import. Katalah saya buat soalan tu dalam bentuk Word, saya kena tukar kepada Notepad, baru saya boleh upload. Tapi nak upload tu pula kena tengok balik format-format. Kalau tak boleh ada tersalah sikit dia reject. Banyak kali, 3-4 kali. Kadang tak terima langsung. So leceh dia kat situ lah. Everybody is struggling now.
Betul.
It's online things. Sangat struggling.
Betul, saya setuju.
Macam saya ni okey lagi lah. Ada macam profesor yang lebih berumur, dia orang lagi tak biasa dengan all these Facebook things kan. Lagi dia orang have problem with all this.
Mano.
Saya tak tahulah kan, saya rasa dia better. Tapi ada lagi kawan-kawan saya yang profesor, dia cakap memang dia kata sangat mencabar lah. And especially if you want to handle all these Zoom things like this kan. Macam saya punya Google first class saya buat pakai Google Chrome. Tiba-tiba Google Chrome saya tak keluar kamera. Google Meet. Tak tahu masalah apa. Dia tak tahu kamera. Kamera tak keluar. Masa tu nak buat first class untuk biochem. Pusing-pusing tak tahu apa masalah. Lepas tu pergi dekat IT technician pun, IT technician tak boleh solve. Dia tak tahu apa masalah. Lepas tu saya pergi tukar buat Firefox kan. Tak pernah pakai Firefox. Hari ni baru pakai. Sekarang baru start pakai balik. Nasib baik lah boleh keluar pula kamera. Tu nak tahu masalah apa. Tak tahu. Benda-benda macam ni, benda-benda tak tahu kerana Windows ke kerana Google Chrome ke kan. Google Chrome kan gaduh dengan Microsoft kan. Kan you have to log in every time lah sekarang.
Betul. Dua-dua.
So Zaidat dia orang kata cuba doktor install balik. Buat juga tak mahu, sama je. Nak tukar laptop tu.
Saya dah tekan laptop baru doktor.
Saya sayang laptop ni, saya dah guna dia bertahun. Banyak paper publish pakai laptop ni. So sayang ada sentimental value.
Beli laptop baru untuk kamera je doktor.
Kamera okey, kamera function tapi dia bila dia pergi Google Meet dia tak nak keluar kamera tu. Setting macam mana buat pun tak tahulah apa masalah. Pelik. Cuma dia sekali tu first class tu je yang okey. Second class tu semua dia tak nak. So sekarang ni Google Meet pakai Firefox baru okey. Tak tahulah apa masalah. Pakai Zoom okey je.
Kena guna Internet Explorer.
Internet Explorer ada tapi dah lama sangat kan. Sekarang dah you tahu, sekarang dah Microsoft Edge you tahu kan. Explorer sekarang dah out. Dia dah pakai Microsoft Edge. Saya tak tahu you all ada yang pakai tapi sekarang ni dia dah ada new interface baru, dia nak lawan Google.
Betul.
Yang Google marah sekarang.
Gaduh.
Dia gaduh tu dia kacau ni, yang kacau benda-benda macam ni lah. Sampai saya dengar cerita ada lecturer cakap pakai Google Meet macam Dr. Shah kata dia buat Google Meet dia tak boleh. Dia after certain time dia putus. So this is one of the problem yang dia create. So I hope because I'm still using Windows 8. So bila pakai Windows 8 ni advantage dia tak kacau lah. Hopefully. Tak tahulah time apa online ni, janganlah benda-benda macam ni kan.
Betul.
Okay, kalau tak ada apa-apa, don't forget your attendance and see you next week lah And for those who tak dapat attend tu, kalau boleh, kalau ada yang record video ke apa, you can record lah video. Sebab kat sini saya tak record tau. Okay, kalau tak ada apa-apa, all the best and see you. Okay,
Thank you,
see you. Keep in touch. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay, take care. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Doktor.
Grup ni macam mana ni? Nak ikut sama ke macam mana?
Ikut sama.
Live terus.
Sama je lah.
Ha?
Sama je.
pun boleh.
Sama je.
Eh,
Kau nak list nama?
nak ikut sama.
Dekat Taklim lah ada. Yang benda Dr. Faizal punya lah.
Gang,
Weh,
nak pergi tadi macam mana gang? Pasal apa?
Tak payah nak sendiri.
Salah.
Tak,
Kau PM
sebab
balik lah.
ni apa nama dia,